Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness. Coming live by Barrett Kunyan.
Hello, everyone. Not quite live, but nevertheless, it's an honor to be here amongst brothers and sisters. I'd like to introduce Tracie, Michael, and Lee. I'll give the opportunity, the mic to everyone, just to quickly introduce themselves in terms of where they're at the moment on planet Earth and their journey to their current interpretation as to, how excited they are with the emerging energies that are coming through. We don't have a particular title as such at the moment, but we are going to talk about the exciting energies that are showering our planet at the moment and the dispersing relatively dark agenda energies saying arrivederci. So I'd like to just quickly hand the mic to Michael. It's hi Mike, just tell us where you're at the moment.
Well, I'm currently in Cambodia along with Brother Lee, staying in the same place actually. I'm originally from Yorkshire, England.
Oh wow, fantastic. And if you don't mind me asking in brief, how did you guys kind of meet up with Brother Lee?
Well, my journey with Lee began through another brother, Dean, who first introduced me to GPMS, and then subsequently, after moving in with him and his family, I first visited Lee at his house on the weekend, and then began along, and at the time felt arduous, but in the end turned out to be a beautiful and divinely timed meeting. And so that was about 2 years ago. No, actually maybe even a year and a half ago. But
nearly two.
And since then we've basically nearly 2 years, and since then we've basically been expanding consciousness, the mind, and the reach of GPMS.
Fantastic, brother. Well, welcome to our beautiful platform. And if I could just
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's an honor, brother. Tracie, what about yourself? Just tell us a little bit where you're based at the moment. And
I'm in Northern California. Currently, I'm Magalia or Paradise Pines. Chico's my hometown. We just had the big campfire that destroyed the town of Paradise and displaced 50,000 people. Currently, I'm living over in Leggett, California, which is right next to the Pacific Ocean and amongst the giant redwoods.
How beautiful. Yeah. Stunning. Well, welcome, Tracie. I'm sure we're going to have a beautiful, stimulating conversation in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes. Brother Lee, it's always an honor to have you as our guest again.
It's been a while. It's been a while, brother. It's been a while.
Well, but I know everything is divinely set up. So, but really excited to be in your humble, beautiful company. And just for new listeners out there as well, brother, just do you want to kickstart and just say hello where you're? I know we just said you're Cambodia, right? You're in Cambodia, and not that long ago you were somewhere else, but you're kind of like putting powerful messages out there.
Like Michael, I'm based. I was born, or the vessel was born in the UK, England. But yeah, for the last 3 years, the last year, we've been in the Southeast Asias for GPMS and for energetic divine work as well. So we're all part of a divine team, an energetic team. There's many over the planet that are working towards the same goal. Many oblivious, and many knowing a little bit more. But we're all working towards an uplift or an upscale of the energetic of this planet and this system, actually. So the children and everything else on her are part of that too. So we're currently in Cambodia. Angkor Wat, very, very powerful, old, ancient structure. Well, a bit more than a structure here. Huge energetic area. And we're here divinely for big, ineffable reasons that I'm not sure of yet. We're pulling up little pieces of chunks of information, but we've been through Thailand. We spent a good few months there. Beautiful people, again with GPMS aligning that. We've been over to the Philippines. We've started a little bit of a ball rolling in the Philippines, and the Philippines are wonderful people again, and they are just tired, same as most of the rest of the world. They are just tired of being treated as nothingness. They're worthless, they're valueless. Many people are carrying this hopelessness within them that is being sucked out of them by the system, the current system, which just lost, if you had any hope or value, it was taken out of you to keep you basically to make humanity obedient slaves. And everybody's at the point now where they're about to rise up. So we're going around. We're actively working with the divine on the energetic side of things, and we're actively working with the people or humanity on the more material side of things with GPMS. And this is ongoing, brother. So I don't know when the last time we spoke was. Probably 6 months, maybe even a bit longer ago, Barrett. I'm not sure. Wow. Beginning of the year.
Yeah, must be, bro. Yeah,
not sure. So either way, we've been busy since. We've been actively working on different stuff since. So glad to be back.
Yeah, it's a privilege to have you back, brother. And the energetics, I mean, everything has changed enormously, because I know from my stand in how I interact with people as well, and with this beautiful vehicle that we have in place, the Global People's Monetary System and simplified divine law. Tracie, how much are you conscious aware of this vehicle? Did you manage to go online on the website? Did you manage to have a look at it? Was it easy to navigate? Was the messages powerful, to the point, crisp and clear? Is there any things that were a little bit fuzzy that this is an opportunity maybe we can just go over in any shape or form?
It was not my favorite. It seemed like it was it's not my favorite. And a lot of people that I send it to, it's not their favorite, just because there's a lot of information. And I think the way people are connecting to information now is not having to read through a lot of text. But what I did just recently find, which reconnected us, not that we were disconnectedly, but got us kind of back, got this meeting together, actually, because I'm the one that initiated this with Barrett, right? So I'm kind of the initiator on this, but it's because you sent me the link to the YouTube page.
Correct. Yes.
Lee, if you would not have sent me that link, you probably would have lost me. Because my brain at this phase, I don't care to go looking for something.
Right.
Because there's such an overwhelming amount of content. My brain can't do that right now. And I think that that's how it is for a lot of people. We have to connect. And remember, I brought up a couple things with you, Lee, and certain points. And you would come back and say, okay, go back and read the web page. I prefer to actually watch. So I enjoyed watching. The last video I watched was on guardianship.
All right.
And that and so I like that platform. I like that platform a lot better. Yeah. So just I know other people. And back in the day, I had no problems reading a lot of content.
Yes.
Not at all. I mean, that's what I did all day long, was read content and stuff. Now my brain's not to that point. It's like that's a lower vibrational frequency for me, not to connect. But when I watched you guys on the video, even though I wasn't interacting, it made me go, oh, when's the next video going to be? Or better yet, I saw the little clip in the bottom that said, hey, if you have a topic that you want to discuss, right, then put it forward and we'll see. And then to me, that was my invitation.
Excellent.
So the way I work on the physical plane is by initiation or being invited in, called into action. And that's just the way that my mode is. I just don't do anything willy-nilly. But if I'm called into action or I'm given that platform, that's how I relate.
Yeah.
So that's just me. And you know that we're having to, not having to, we're connecting on multiple levels. Yeah. And we process that right now. We process things differently. So for me, I'm very happy, Lee, that you sent me that link. And I came back with a suggestion. Hey, why don't you put this link on your web page? Because people aren't going to go searching for it. And at this phase, why should we? There's so much.
Let me put another one in. Let me just put a little bit of a point in for you, Tracie. And I know what you're saying about people won't go searching for it. Yes, they will. This isn't a time for ones to say, I'm not looking for that. Bring it to me. This is a time for the higher ones to negate those old mindsets and to unite on a level that is way above the existing old world. This is a time for the GPMS requires it. GPMS requires finding. GPMS requires to be realized. We're not selling it to anybody. This is the people's. So if people wish to say we're not interested because we don't like the way this or that or the other, that's fine by us. And this isn't about you. This is a general point. So that the website itself is not when it was designed and it was given, it didn't need to be explanatory. It didn't need to go into too much, which is why it hasn't got a lot of information on it. If people wish to find out about GPMS, they do what you did and look on the YouTube site, look on the other bits. We're the ones that share GPMS in these meetings, not the website. The website's just a collection place for the consents.
I didn't look for it. You brought it to me.
Yeah, but it's the right time. It's the right time.
And I am from a higher level.
I know. And it wasn't about you. It's about a lot of others. This is about a lot of others. We've got the same thing going on with a lot of others saying, we don't understand it. You've got to tell us all about it. You've got to make it real for us. You've got to do this. And we're saying, no, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mine wasn't that. Mine is, where do I fall into where's my position in it?
Right. Well, we haven't quite got there yet with what GPMS does, but we've got.
Right.
See, what we're talking to about guardians is where you are.
Actually, I'm way beyond the guardians, and
well, okay.
The way I look at the whole guardianship thing is a little bit different than you. So I would have loved to have been involved on that conversation, because the way I look at it as we're all one.
We are
humanity. So I'm not going to. I don't have to make an effort, but whatever I put out is for everyone to retain or to be able to grasp onto. I'm not looking for somebody that's up here higher. There's no hierarchy in my mind whatsoever.
No.
We are all equal. This is a turn of heaven on earth. Everyone is born into the things that you're mentioning on your website, that you're seeking and I know that you're above the consent thing too, Lee, because I also heard that on there. I understand that. I think it's more of a standing, us coming together to stand as one, because all we're doing is returning back to humanity and to everybody here what was already given.
Yes.
So a baby born receives the same things that everyone else does. Freedom, sovereignty, equal everything, right? I mean, nobody's excluded. If you don't have a certain amount of knowledge or know something, it doesn't matter. Where you're born at on earth, it doesn't matter. That's the perspective that I bring into it. So I thought when you guys were discussing guardianship, in my mind, it was kind of unnecessary.
There's different levels of consciousness, Tracie, that we're talking to here, my dear.
Right.
And there's Guardians of GPMS are equality. What we're talking to is self-appointed equality, divine status, authority within each that knows equality in egalitarian terms, and they call themselves guardians because they act in the best interest of the whole, the one.
Right.
On the different levels, we've got ones that are consenting for others to act as proxies for them, so that if one can't maybe consent for themselves to unite, then another would take guardianship of them. This is a more humanity version.
What are we consenting to then? Because what I'm talking about is actually bringing back what we
an agreement,
what we're born into without.
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
Oh,
but divine, can I just say, divinely, I agree with you 100%. There is no need to consent. We can all agree. We don't need to write this down. But this isn't for us. This is for humanity. And humanity divinely, where this is the way that it progresses. Humanity make the energetic stance to unite by an agreement, which we can call a referendum, but it doesn't matter. It's just an energetic alignment.
Right.
To agree on an energetic level to take back what is truly theirs on an individual level. But that what that means is that each takes the steps towards this unity, and the collection point is the website itself. So it's the unity, as you know, there's only one. So what do we need to unite about? But where we are right now, there is a different method playing out of return to grace, which involves the collective choice to return to grace, not resist it, which is what we have witnessed currently going on, and maintain an immoral status. Barrett, you're still muted, brother. If you were talking.
I know, Barrett. Are you? We can't hear you.
You're muted.
Sorry. No, I just got hold of Brother Donovan, and I've just said, join us if you can. He's up, so he'll be joining us shortly. Sorry. Please continue.
So we've got with what we're doing with GPMS, we've got to allocate for different experiential levels of knowing, gnosis, within the collective consciousness. It's just what we have to do. Of course, there's the higher, let's say, and I don't like to use the terms higher or lower, but there's the ones that are here to do other things, and there's the ones that are here to maintain and move through the human experience, as many well know. And this is an inclusive instrument, so it must accept all of those belief systems within it, and the simplest way was via an alignment of a consent. This is why it's not a signature, it's not a contract, it's just an agreement, an accord.
Well, an agreement's a contract, right?
Well, in the old words, in the old terms, but it doesn't have to be if we redefine it. An accord.
My stance is to bring everything down to the core of things, and I told you in the beginning when I started off, that would be the golden rule: do no harm.
Yeah.
We are creators. We all have equal everything. We support each other in the growth of it. We're there to, if somebody else struggles to find your website or find your YouTube channel, then we do things to help ease and work together to build the harmony, which is the vibrational frequency, and all the other elements, which are beautiful. I love some of the stuff that you have on GPS and that's out there, but and we still don't know exactly where it's unfolding to yet. But as soon as our energy raises up by this harmony and this connection and helping one another, all of that will just fall into place. So
yes.
You don't have to see everything, and how, if we did, it wouldn't even be as fun and as beautiful and magical, right? It would be like, it just wouldn't be as wonderful. And I'm willing to take full blast, but we all process things differently. I naturally have an ability to reduce things down to the smallest. How can I simplify it? How can I streamline it? How can I connect it as quickly as I'm meant to connect it? Because I'm a light worker. I deal with the light. I naturally am a connector, a networker. People will resonate to me. So 60,000 people or 67,000 people is so tiny. It's like a
At the
drop.
moment.
Right. It's like a drop in the ocean.
And it's taken 3 years of hard work relatively to open that up.
If you get me on board,
What do you mean if?
on board,
Are you on board or not? It's not if we get you on board. Are you on board or not?
I'm not on board 100% yet because you're making things difficult for me.
How? Well, you explain the difficulty, and I'll see whether we can explain the simplicity.
Well, why didn't you just send me the link to the YouTube channel in the beginning? Why should I have to go out and do all that? Because I've actually sent the link.
Why am I supposed to understand what your perspective is without knowing you?
But
Why don't I just send you the truth in the moment?
Well, wait, Lee, the reason that's why I said, well, why don't you just post? How hard is it? Difficult?
It's on the website.
Did you just add it then? Because the link to the YouTube channel wasn't on there. All it is, sure. If you're going to direct the traffic and the flow to a site, then everything should branch off from that, period. I mean, that's common marketing.
YouTube. There's a YouTube. YouTube's on there. I just got on the website and clicked the YouTube link on About Us, and it was there. It just opens up the YouTube page. The Twitter link opens that. The other one opens the other one. They're all on there. They're just in their little box. Boom, boom, boom.
Fantastic. But I didn't see it on there because I would have clicked on it.
It's okay. What we also know is divinely people will see it when they are ready to see it. It doesn't, again, we are very relaxed with a lot of this in as much as we understand what's ongoing with the method, as you do as well, Tracie. People will find what they need to find at the time that they'll find it, and then that will send them on the path that they're next on. We know that. It's what we do. So changing it around to alter it. And we've had so many conversations about what we can and can't do with the site to try to make it simpler for others. And what we've come up with is ultimately whatever you do, it will always be something else that you need to do. So we said we're not going to anymore. We'll deal with it as we can, and we'll share it as we will, because otherwise we're constantly tinkering.
And I'm super happy and excited that it's on there. But simplifying it, because a lot of people nowadays don't have the time or desire to.
I agree. Let me just say one other thing to balance this up. That the ones that are looking for YouTubes generally are the ones that are in the West, and of them there are very few comparative to the ones that are in the East, Africa, India, China, where maybe 4 billion or 3.8 billion. Africa, most of them don't want to watch YouTube. Philippines, 119 million, they don't watch YouTube. A lot of these other countries don't watch YouTube. So yes, there's a certain selection that will and research it that way, but there's an awful lot that don't. And again, we've got to be aware of all of this as we're ongoing. So we've got teams out talking door to door, and they've got a completely different spiel than we would talk to on YouTube. We need to get, as we grow more and more, we'll give more and more information, make it more and more rounded. But on YouTube, as you've probably seen, there's been 3 years of Rick and I and a few others, Dan,
the refinement of this is an ever ongoing process. And we are 100% open to refinement with each edition of somebody who comes in like yourselves, who is fully comfortable with and in trust of their function as a being in this plane, in this time, that then is added to as we expand. And then the refinement continues with greater knowledge, greater experience, added, expand. It's part of the process. Yeah.
And I did see that the United States had a very small, like 3,400 people. Yeah. I am from the West, so I'm sharing with you how we in the United States connect. So if you want to gain the United States and probably Canada, and which is our goal is to, well, I would hope your goal is the same, is to bring back what we were born into naturally, or all of our rights equally.
You've seen it on the site. The United States must help the United States. So we aren't silly enough to believe that we've got any sway over anybody. Everybody's equal. The West is prideful and arrogant. The East is humble and worthless. It's very strange to watch the both work. That pride and arrogance must fall, but it's got to be done by us all individually. So the United States will take control of itself and set up its own teams. We don't wish to unite with the United States. The United States must unite with the rest of the world. We spoke with somebody on last night in Canada who's talking to First Nations, many of them, and hopefully that video comes up soon. I think you'll like that one, Tracie. We've got a meeting on Sunday evening. Our time is 11. Bugger, what's that your time? I think it's 6 a.m. What we're trying to do is get a North American weekly or bi-weekly contributors meeting working so that it fits your time zones. Because where we are, it's just so difficult to host them. It would be sort of 5 a.m. for I and after clock in the morning for others. So we're starting this Sunday to host the first one where we believe that we may have another who will continue that hosting for the Americas and that Western time zones, so that maintenance of a collaborative unity can be ongoing there rather than just it's all in Europe. So we're pushing towards that, but we couldn't do much with America or with the North Americas because we didn't have anybody there that would maintain a host position or maintain a position at this point. Now, as we move forward, that will change.
A lot of us are very humble and not.
You know what I mean? It wasn't. I wasn't tarring everybody with a brush, but there's been a lot of resistance to unity with like anger, revenge, blame, guilt, and all of these things are ongoing. And a lot of the so-called freedom and the truther groups, they're still based on false narratives, a lot of them. Right. And we've been trying to break them down for years, well, a couple of 3 years, with many people who say that they are aligned to a new system and then turn out to continue wanting their pound of flesh back from the old one. Again, not blaming anybody, it's just factual. And as I'm sure you're aware, I'm from the West too, and I use these words not as against anybody, but just as a fact. That's how we've experienced life to date, prior anyway, until the last few years.
But remember, there's a lot of us waking up and remembering more.
I know.
And the reason why I wanted to do the talk now, or actually you joined in, but at first it was just Barrett and I, and then I wanted to talk to Denovan because I heard when I watched that video, hi Denovan, about his website that he had created before he had met you. And I thought some ideas were great with that. Because if I'm going to jump into something, that's what I'm going to do. And so I want to know the boots on the ground. I don't want to be twiddling my thumbs. I don't want to have to be reinventing the wheel. I like to streamline things, and I'm eager and willing to work on that expansion in the United States and further. So that's why, because I don't know where to start.
Well, we've got a hub. We've got a hub online on Telegram, which we call a contributors group. It's basically where people volunteer to assist and blah, blah, blah. On there is collaboration. We've got a USA team. We've got a North America team. We've got teams all around the world which are populating inside Telegram at the moment. So a lot of what we do is on Telegram collaboratively. If you'd like, Tracie, I can add you or get you the link to the contributors group. This will give you a link to the Zoom meeting on Sunday and the only upcoming meetings. That all of our meetings that we host are transparent and open for anybody to join on to. Hey.
Yes, I'd love.
But that's all within the Telegram group, and what we've done is we've said basically, if you consent, if you wish to consent and you wish to assist, click a little box, and we'll give you the link where everybody else is. Well, all of the ones that are active are meeting and talking and collaborating and uniting. So Team India, Team Philippines, Team Africa, Uganda, and all of these, we've got representatives all from all over the world connected to this one main hub. Okay, you could say it's small relatively now, but it doesn't matter. And this all links then into the country groups. So it's almost like an administrative setup that's being self-populated organically. We've got two actually, another guy called Dylan, Mervyn yesterday. Mervyn? Was it Mervyn? Marcel and Dylan, they're both in America too. They're both looking at setting up not council, but administrative graphs, templates for local areas to create their own community led liaisons, if you will.
Involved in that.
Yes, well, this is starting on Sunday, and we had the meeting last night with Marcel, who's in Canada, Private Law Trust, blah, and so we've got. He will be involved Sunday evening, and he's in America. He's in Canada. Dylan's in somewhere in Canada, in America too. Rick's spoken with him, and he's involved in this sort of same structural organization thing. We let's say it's inevitable. The skill sets of ones that are involved in these administrative echelons will arrive, and they are, and then they will populate. So we're seeing this coming together at this point. This is why it's perfect to have this conversation today as well, so we can get this out into the energetic, and we can see that this will amplify. So exactly what you're talking to, Tracie, streamlining it, stripping it down, getting the right people in the right places, doing the right things, shifting the information to everybody and assisting them to see why. This
Tracie,
is what we're doing all over the world.
Yeah. Tracie the transistor.
Yeah, Tracie the transistor, amplifier and guide. But this is what we're doing all over the world, but we've got to do it in different ways, you see. In Philippines, it's different to America. They haven't got the internet, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So we've got to be inclusive, yeah? Africa too, India the same. We've got teams all over India that are still struggling to get their brothers and sisters to see freedom, like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And we will get a platform where it'll just be that way, because all we're doing is returning back to where the state where we all are supposed to be anyways. And that's that's born free. That's born not with the constraints, limitations, everything else that comes along. And I'm just going to always bring it back to that point.
Well, it's on the website. The proclamation is on there.
But I bring it up every time we talk over and over again to bring it down to that core, because if we don't keep it at that core, it can spiral off in so many different directions where we end up creating infrastructures and systems that are almost bringing us back into the old way, but like through the back door, when we want to just keep it super simple with, hey, this is everybody's inalienable rights.
Unalienable. Inalienable is removable. Unalienable is not. The inalienable has been altered. But the freedoms, what we've put on there, the right to moral and ethical choice of self-determination, the right of complete comfort, abundance, right to liberty, sustenance, love and harmony, freedom of speech, unity, belief, movement and travel upon earth, space and time, freedom of experience, freedom of expression. There on the website, that's what you proclaim are your rights, unalienable. There's another one where we agree. Proclamation is, let me just look. Every man, woman, and child is born and is by nature free, equal, sovereign, and possesses the inherent knowing of what is morally and ethically right. By definition, no one can ever be in a position of authority above another. These are on the website. These are fundamental, and they will never change. This is non-manipulative and non-looping. It can never go back to what was once it's agreed upon. So yes, absolutely, Tracie. That's the fundamental of this. It can't change, and it won't go back, and it will not be negotiated.
Okay.
Fantastic.
But bring it up all the time. Bring it up all the time, and we'll read it.
I will. I'll just keep bringing up the golden rule.
Well done. Brother Donovan, you've noticed we're recording this, and apologies for the fact that maybe you got the message a little bit late as well.
No. So sorry, guys.
No apologies. Just because there's always new listeners as well, would you be kind enough just to, in brief, just introduce your beautiful energy to the platform and the planet as a whole?
Where do I start?
In a nutshell.
Yes. Welcome, everyone.
artist.
An hour late into the show, but I'm here. Let's go. So, yeah, basically.
You're based in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the United Kingdom, in the lovely, beautiful Surrey Hills currently. Basically came across GPMS 2 years ago, and actually about 2 months after, I had divinely been building a website which was called GLFB, which stood for Global Love Freedom Bank, and the concept was essentially kind of similar in principle, absolutely the same as GPMS, but it just obviously was built around the idea that all of the people come together to create their own money, to create the freedom that way, because then you could, invest in all of the things that basically aren't being invested in because obviously conflicts of interest and all that sort of stuff. So, and then lots of very beautiful things occurred as well after that, just a few weeks before I came across GPMS, which basically were 100% like confirmations from the divine that like I was basically to realize I was being 100% guided. And then obviously I, came across a video of Rick, and I'd already been, talking about these sorts of things, like this sort of reality with my family for like many, many years before. And from a young age, like I saw that there was this absolute evil upon the planet, how it was so wrong that you had like people who were so poor and starving children versus obviously all the super rich. So I was already awakening from an early age with that side of things. And obviously my journey's been just an interesting one, and it's put me into a unique perspective, of course, as we all have that unique point of perspective in our dimension of reality that we're seeing. But it's been a journey. And so when I saw the video I did of Rick going through the 51 articles, I think, on the website, which is the old versus the new, and just instantly within minutes, I was within the first 30 seconds, I just knew what I was watching was profound. And then obviously I was just like watching it, and it was like, yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is in my heart. And I sent a message to Rick, and he responded very quickly, and then gave my agreement immediately. And then within the first week or so, a couple of days, I was doing videos about it. I was that kind of in there with it. So and it's been an amazing journey in terms of my evolution as well, with my kind of ascension process, my own ascension process, and learning more about the energetics of everything. It's just been phenomenal, and meeting many, many beautiful souls like on the journey. As I've been connecting with people around the world, it's just been an absolute amazing time. So I'm very grateful. GPMS. I mean, I always had like a knowing all the way through the pandemic that obviously that there was this evil going on, but we didn't have to have any fear about, losing or being completely overrun by the tyranny, because I just knew that wasn't going to happen. I was already pushing back against it in my own ways. Before I even started building that website, I was looking at how I might be able to find ways to help people generate a lot more money, because I knew that their way to oppress people further was to actually control us by taking our financial independence away from us. I knew that they were destroying the economy. I knew that was their plan. So I was like, well, how can we actually slow that process down and actually throw a spanner in the works? We'll create a lot more wealth for everyone. And that's where the banking idea came from originally. But because I realized during that process that actually what I was recognizing in terms of helping people generate more money was actually ultimately there was an issue with, well, the issue was consciousness itself. People's consciousness, their mindset, the mind control was preventing people from seeing that actually, it's not too good to be true. There is such a thing as a free lunch. All of the things that we've been told, like, which are programs where like it's to control you and stop you from rising up and improving your life and your reality. I was seeing that in people. So of course it's all come together. I'm so sorry I'm like an hour late. I did set my alarm, but I think I divinely wasn't supposed to be here for that first hour because
it's all perfect, bro.
But interesting, just sort of coming in at that point as well. I mean, obviously that I've missed some bits there. So if we go over anything, I apologize. But the website, of course, has just been revamped, and it is beautiful and much simpler than it was. I guess, if we had like a team of people who were like actually able to put 100% of their time into it, and we could actually do amazing transformational changes with it, like that, seamlessly, without any issues and bugs and stuff like that, then that would be all good, and we could obviously and if we had the think tank to obviously create that, we could have. But again, to a certain degree, you don't want too many big changes, because then it might be confusing for new people coming in thinking, well, is this the same thing? I'm seeing something different. But again, we don't have that team yet anyway. So, obviously, as it grows, that possibility could arise. And of course, as we get that think tank growing as well, we're going to have some amazing, incredible sort of developments in the minds and hearts of people, where obviously things could be streamlined, or certain things could be. Because one of the things that occurred to me, and what's come up recently in conversations I've had with other people, and even before, was about potentially, recently I was thinking about maybe like almost like an intranet that could be available. How like you have like an intranet with the companies, where you've got your own back end to the site where you can access everything that you need. That would be pretty cool. But the thing is, we've got from 2 points of view. Just very, very quickly, Lee. We've got people looking at things from the 3D reality, right, where they're expecting everything to sort of move forward from a 3D perspective, still 4D perspective, where they're not understanding or aligning with with the whole energetics of things. You've got the other people that basically are completely in the sort of 4D, moving into the 5D, where they're sort of like, well, we only need to basically love everyone and raise our own vibration, and then everything's going to shift, and we're moving to the new earth, and we won't see the dense energy anyway. We won't see the evil anymore. So there's these two sides of things which basically aren't really separated or separate within the website, because obviously they don't need to be, and we don't want to confuse anyone. But it's just, as people are coming in, there is those people in that category where perhaps they see things more organically just happening naturally with the energetics, and there's other people that also are expecting to see that there needs to be more kind of systems, or like an integration of a think tank, and how we actually going to move into these different simplified systems as soon as we start hitting bigger numbers. Because if we are going to hit bigger numbers very quickly, then we surely need to have, the think tanks and the people actually starting to coordinate how we do things, like, very quickly. The truth is, as Rick has said, is that actually everything's already here. So ultimately, even if we basically went viral tomorrow, within a week, the governments around the world could do what we're doing with GPMS and what we're talking about with GPMS. Within a month, everyone could have money. Within 2 weeks or even a week, that could be done potentially, because they would just be able to, everybody would just, without a shadow of a doubt, if it was the governments around the world, because they're so controlled by their minds to think, well, the governments are here to look after us and they'll do it, they would just trust the governments potentially. Well, that's what people think. Yeah, at this point, some people think that, but the truth is, within a week or 2 weeks or a month, everybody could have money just like that. We could actually distribute money to everybody, but then it's the organization of how we then move, to sort of, winding down the companies that aren't necessary, winding down the financial industry from 1 billion employees down to just maybe 100 that would obviously be responsible for distributing funds, that sort of thing. That's where some people get a bit, at this point, they're coming in, they're looking to see, where is that concept, where are the white papers, all that sort of stuff.
Is it the money that we're wanting or needing, or is it actually the things that the money
100%.
is missing?
No, 100% is.
You know what I mean?
We don't need money. We don't need money. So yeah.
So
yeah.
Can I just jump in a little bit on the intranet thing?
Yeah.
That is, we're going to be talking about that on Sunday with Nick, and what they're coming up with a completely new system outside of the old, which would give an intranet necessitatively for us to use, should we wish. So that's coming up. The money isn't important. Divine law is, do no harm is, and that's certainly not been agreed upon by the people. Giving the people money at this point is ridiculous. they would. It's just there's just no love for it. There's just no love for freedom. There's no desire for these things. There's a huge desire for revenge. So in as much as at this point, anyway, I'm not saying divinely things will change, and I'm talking about a mass consciousness here. I'm not talking about different levels. I'm talking about a median. There's a lot of anger. But the thing about what we've got to see is when people want white papers about how will this happen and how will that happen, my simple question to them is the banking system is a fraud. The government system is a corporation. The medical system is a corporation, is a fraud. Everything is designed to be evil, malevolent, and this, that, and the other. And you're worried about how they're going to get stripped down. When humanity find out about what's been going on to them, undeniably, there won't be anything left to strip down. It will be torn to shreds. And I know this, and each one of you probably do, from a time when we were previously in those angst states where we would have created scorched earth outcomes to those things which burned us or lied to us or deceived us. We don't accept those after we find out about them, and nor will humanity. So what we're doing here, for those that wish to want all the details about how the structure will work, 5 billion coming together has all of the answers. These think tanks that we need to think we're doing a good design for what 5 billion will do will come together when there's 67,000. That's mute. We need to get the numbers. The numbers of people connected gives the think tanks, gives the energetic, and gives the manifestation energy for this momentum. And those numbers are divinely guaranteed. So it's not something we can speed up or slow down.
People are in survival mode, which is fight.
Yes.
And when your towns and cities are getting burned up and you don't have housing and a home, and you're dealing with people that are using the reptilian part of their brain in their root chakra, it's not easy for them to understand and elevate to the levels that we're talking about.
They're suffering deceit from their own consciousness. They're being told all of the negative things, and they're believing the stories totally. They believe the blame they're creating is real. They create a fictitious reality, and they believe it. And we've all done the same things.
They need food. They need food. They need a home to stay in. Right now, currently, the medium that we're having to use is a financial thing. I know this. I was homeless. I lived in my RV. The whole 50,000 people were displaced here. I can't go down to the store and get food unless I give them something in exchange for it. And they're not going to take, whatever, my jewelry. They're going to want money for it. So there's a bridge. And maybe that's where I'm coming into play. I know we can talk all these levels.
Bridge.
Right now, it's like, how are you going to get your water? Or a bathroom. You know how many people don't have the bathroom right now?
Yeah, we had this chat yesterday with Marcel in Canada, and he was talking about what are we going to do for people in the interim. And the honest answer is there's nothing GPMS can do in the interim for anybody. There is no mechanism within GPMS to assist others financially until everybody is assisted. There is philanthropic individuals out there who are very wealthy that could share their money individually, but it's not GPMS's job to do that. Our job, we cannot help.
Then why
just give hope?
Why is it in the name? Why is monetary in the name then?
But that's because of a choice at the end of it. That's not prior to that choice being made. This is what I'm saying. There is no money until the people choose to create money for everybody.
But money won't be necessary.
Money won't be a problem by that time. It's the unity that's required. So it's the united choice of freedom, unalienable rights and divine law that people will choose, the moral pathway. The money is just part of that as a transition to no money.
So do you think that maybe that the vibrational frequency of the name itself has part to do with it not connecting the speed and the outreach?
No. It's divine. The actual global was put in there by Father as an offset to global, the other global. So this is the opposite version of it. Those that see global as an issue, as a globalists, they've got fear in their hearts. Well, they've got fear in their roots, actually. It's not in their hearts. So they're picking up reasons why not GPMS. And we were told by Father, Mother, whichever way you wish, no, you leave global in there. The same with the wording on the website. We've tried to change quite a bit of it. We're not able to, because we've been told that's what's required. This is not man-made. This is not man-made.
So who is it that you're receiving this Guidance from.
I just told you, Father, the divine, whoever you wish to call that.
It's not the consciousness.
Prime creator.
Global
Whichever
consciousness.
you wish. No, it's not. It's above the global consciousness. Why is the ascension going back to grace? This is a return to grace from creation. This is a creational aspect. So prime creator, mother and father aspects, you can call it, whichever way you wish to look at the higher echelons of the energetics where we are. We could have a good long conversation about this, but it doesn't matter. Well, what are we here to do and what's going on in this system? Right now, it's an ascension of the planet going back to a frequency that it was prior. That's under the auspices of creation, prime creator, and the co-creators involved in it, to whatever level that they are physically experiencing this ascension time. So global was given to Rick by his connection to the divine, and it must maintain it. And what we've openly said is, at any given point when humanity choose to, they can rename their own system, because this is the people's system. The same with all of it. It's not fixed. But it won't be changed on a whim. It must be changed by collective agreement or
the
accord.
global aspect is something that I didn't resonate with.
No, I agree, and lots don't.
I think that I like golden, actually, and I like.
Then call it golden. Then call it golden.
Yeah, I do, because you know what? If you think about it, what's the gold standard, right? What's the gold
standard is fear.
The golden ratio is not, and as
the golden ratio is actually inside too. Yes, it is. Golden ratio is all part of the oxygen molecule, the water molecule. 36, 108 degrees creates the golden ratios, the old ones. But these things are all internal. We just got to remember they're not external. And we were using global as a worldwide reference, not as a round or anything like this. And it's in direct opposition, if you want, to the global lists. So those that link the two and conflate the two and feel that they're not resonant, well, okay.
I think that it's like that's something that's so powerful on your end, but and I'm being, of course, 100% honest, and just sharing.
Please.
It was like a poke to me. I was like, global, like global, but monetary comes up too with me in a really big way, because it's not, I don't think it's really monetary that your website and this movement is creating.
It's a nomenclature. Bear in mind, it's a name. Nobody's poking anybody. There's no negative intention behind it. If you feel that it's because of your internal mechanisms, we all know this. This name is purely a name given for the instrument transitionally until the people unite.
I get it.
If the name puts people off because of the words in it, okay.
I just find it interesting because it's almost contradictory to what you're saying, because you're saying, which we know. Well, we know in the future down the road here that money's not going to be into play, but that's the word. That word was so important that you put it in the title. But it's something that's not going to. But it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Right? You understand? I'm just sharing with you.
I love the paradoxes that aren't. I really do. There are so many of them as we grow. Yeah. Paradoxes that aren't paradoxes. You just got to look at them from both sides. And one being the very highest, and one being the human, and see the middle.
But it's very important for. Did you say his name was Mark? What's his name?
Rick. Marcel.
Rick. Oh,
Rick.
Marcel.
Rick. But it was very important for him, and you said that it was very adamant of the information that he received or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that was it was given to us that name is that it must stay. You know, again, I'm with you, Tracie. The amount of times that I've had to discuss the word global, monetary, people's system in the last 2.5 years, where one's come in, I don't like this, I don't like that. The amount of words in the website from the sovereign communities that he didn't like, we stripped out any reference to signatures. But then you've got different nomenclatures, terminologies within the website that different sovereign groups have got different angsts against. And we've just got to say, listen, the words we redefine, we define our own words. They're not definitions in the Black's Law Dictionary. They're our words that we've redefined. Global means worldwide people. Monetary system, divine law.
It's the
Sorry.
No matter what, it comes down to the frequency. It has
The frequencies of the intention, not the
itself,
word. The word carries none.
Any
The
of the
frequencies of the intention.
It has nothing to do with any of the words of anything. It has to do with the vibrational frequency that we connect with other people, that speaks for itself, right?
Yes.
Language. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm just it puts out a vibe to out there.
It does. It creates resistance.
Very
and it has. And that resistance is one of those interesting gauges as to where one is. Why are they resistant of a word? Why are they so fearful or doubtful because of a word? They haven't necessarily looked into the intention and seen the other side of that word. They're just maintaining a perspective.
But it's like you feel it, and your body automatically reacts to it. So it's just, I just find it very fascinating that the words that are chosen are words of resistance. That's all. But whatever. I and the higher points of it. I
don't disagree with you. From different levels of consciousness, they could be seen to be that. But there's, I know. I'm not. We could discuss this a long time for where the words are. The word doesn't create resistance. Resistance is within the one receiving the word.
No matter what.
Do you want to add something to this?
Yeah, please. Yeah. So, so just to again clarify very quickly. I mean, again, one of the reasons, obviously, why Global People's Monetary System was the sort of the divine name for it was because it is a transitory tool. Like the vast majority of people at this point in time can't perceive or haven't been even considering us ever having a world without money, because it's all we've ever known. So yes, every one of us here and all of those that are aligned with GPMS, more or less, probably at this point, who've given their consent and are working and with us as contributors to grow GPMS and bring it into reality. Obviously, having our hearts, we're not going to need money. We understand the value is intrinsic, and money is worthless, right? But because obviously the majority of people, they can't perceive that yet. This is where it's absolutely right what you're saying, Tracie, because it is a contradiction in some sense, and people have expressed that, where they say, "Oh, well, it's Global People's Monetary System," but then you're saying that you're going to get everything for free and we won't have any money and all the rest of it. And they might get that. Those people that obviously express that, they're getting the fact that they also are aligned with the fact that we don't need money. Those people who are often bringing that up, and they're now querying their query or bone of contention is just the name, because it says monetary in it, and they're saying, well, what's that all about, but again, as Lee was saying, I would say that there is obviously going to be movement on that potentially as time goes on. I think one of the things here is that we obviously, I mean, when we even just say, okay, well, this is a transitory tool where we're moving to a world without money, but then at the same time we're also saying on videos like this, well, the reason why we're maintaining the name is because it's divinely been given by mother and father. That actual statement in itself is not going to be resonating with a lot of people, because they'll be like, all right, okay. So then that it does create that resistance that Tracie's talking about, because it's like, do we want the fastest path to actually resonating with as many people as possible without resistance, and what little things could be tweaked, and at what point are we going to tweak them to obviously enable that to happen more quickly? Because there's lots of stuff that's occurring which is putting a pressure on the people to start looking at GPMS and actually making those choices the right choice for everyone and for humanity. But again, the quicker that we can get more of the numbers coming on and getting to that 250,000 million mark, which is where it will naturally go viral more quickly anyway, that for me is where I sort of feel like we should look at anything. And when we keep on getting this constant thing coming in where people are saying this name, whether it's global or whether it's the monetary bit that they don't like, is that not kind of in a way like the consciousness, like mother and father in a way guiding us to sort of say, well, we need to be revisiting this and being very much, if not changing it at this point in time, been keeping it very much in our forefront that we need to change that at some point, and it is going to be a divine timing thing when we do that. I personally feel that GPMS.world, GPMS definitely is to be kept, because that's basically what is now the ringing thing that everybody will have in their head: GPMS world, especially with my rap, which basically puts it into consciousness.
And I personally like the name that you had for your site better, which is the Golden Love Freedom Bank, because that has it has a vibrational frequency that I think that more people could connect with, because it has to do with okay, so there's a reason why advertisers pick certain names, go through marketing. There's only like 5 things that on a 3D level, at least, that we want, like love, power, sex. I don't remember the other 2, but you stick with those 5, and that's the direction. What's the one word or that are universal?
Universal.
If I was to ask you,
well, that's interesting. That's interesting, because Rick said himself recently when this conversation came up. So look, just so you're aware that we are having these conversations. That we've had this within the contributors meeting, like about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. There was actually quite a lot of conversation that was going on about this, and nothing actually changed at that point. But the conversation was going on with the contributors about this. In a meeting, and even Rick was saying that actually he felt that Universal should be in there, right? So
there's just, I'd just like to step in here a sec, because the thing is, one consideration you have to bear in mind is the question: do you want to avoid resistance? Are you trying to avoid resistance? Because really, if you try to avoid resistance, what you're doing is you are altering your highest truth in order to make it more palatable. So you don't want to avoid resistance. We're absolutely happy and fine with resistance, because ultimately when that resistance generates in somebody, cool, now you've got something you can go and dig deep into. That's something you can go into yourself and look into. If we try to dance around and make it palatable, if we try to avoid resistance, it's a never-ending game that you'll never win, because that resistance is necessary for their individual journey. All you have to do is make sure that you are in 100% trust that the truth you are speaking is the highest truth that is available to you now, and stick to it and stand by it, and then allow the resistance to occur as it may.
I'm not trying to avoid resistance at all. All I'm saying or asking you is, what is the one thing that we can come together on? What's the one thing, no matter where we're at, no matter what's a universal, like what's one universal word where I could travel anywhere?
You can't.
Or symbol. There is, and it's a heart connection.
But that's different in different areas, in different cultures. It's different. There's not one word you can use. We've tried it. There's not one word you can use, because there's such a swathe of collective consciousness. But there is a heart connection, yes, and that can be developed one-on-one and connected to.
It's definitely
do no harm. Simple
heart connection, right? The golden rule.
Do no harm. It should be divine natural law. Should be great. But then if I say to you, we've used the word divine natural, and I've got people telling me you can't use those words. They're in Black's law. Divine doesn't mean what you're saying, and natural certainly isn't. They're both obfuscated by the legal system. You can't use those words. You must use something else. You're like, what?
You already know it's
really?
But I like nature.
Nature's good. Natural's good. Organic's good. Divine's good. This creates complication. It's very fascinating, but we can't. The nomenclature that we've got with GPMS, it's, again, I could talk to the Indians. They don't care about global. I could talk to the Africans. I've not heard one Middle African guy say to me, I don't like GPMS because of the word global or monetary. These areas of the world haven't got issues with nomenclature like other areas have.
Right.
So again, we've got this play on consciousness. We've got to change this to make it easier for ones to accept. No, we haven't. We give information to the ones we can, and if they can accept that heart connection, like Tracie is saying, if they can see the sincerity and the integrity and the morality and virtue in the one that's sharing, then the connection is made, and then the names don't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking or trying to avoid resistance. I'm trying to look at what's common within all of it.
Let me just quickly add. Basically, again, if we also take or sort of just consider the fact that GPMS.world, right, is the movement to align all of the movements that are, essentially wanting to go to the same ends in terms of bringing this beautiful new reality that's a high vibe and there's no evil, etc., and everyone's free and abundant, right? So we already know that there's like literally millions of people around the world, maybe tens of millions of people already who are aligned in their own groups with this. And so they should actually all be coming across GPMS and actually, when they do come across GPMS, aligning with it and just being part of it. And so, again, the global people's monetary system is the essence of changing the reality from one which relies upon money to one that is without money, And so that is why it is the movement of movements. And so we don't need to change the name from that point of view. What people just need to do is they need to see it, resonate with it, and then just board the arc and then actually help us bring the others with us. Yeah. And that's, they need to look enough to see that actually the name is really not important. It's about everything else that we're doing with it. That is the important thing. And so, I'm going around here because I'm bringing up the argument about, okay, how we could change the name and how this obviously is going up. But ultimately, the truth is that we've got the simplified law that is do no harm. We know that money is obviously how everybody's controlled. We know, ultimately because everybody relies upon it, and we're moving everyone away from that by activating the intrinsic value, which is infinite in all people. And as when people align their hearts with that, the name really doesn't matter.
Right.
And so, yeah, so, but yeah, anyway, it's good to keep on having this conversation publicly because every now and then, because obviously it comes up in people's consciousness and it only needs to be discussed and to be highlighted that it's really not materially important. Yeah, because we're not about
reiteration. Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little bit of an extrapolation. So I think I'm not quite sure if it's going to be on the website yet or not, but into the divine law to give a little bit more detail from do no harm down a little bit. So accomplice to complicit in. But I'm not sure whether we're going to detail that on the website or whether we're going to do it slightly separately. There is a extrapolation of the divine law to make that do no harm become more available, more detailed at this point. And I don't like to do that, but no, because it's writing rules kind of thing, or it could be seen to be. But we've also got these guys that have got the sovereign groups that have already got the do no harms in place with a couple of other details within them that work perfectly fine. They'll be bringing those in, I believe, add in addition to GPMS to make it more palatable and understandable to others without full education. We don't need to go into, you've got to learn this before that. But there is still a layer of understanding or understanding of what it means, what virtue actually is, as opposed to the old system. So we're going to be going through that little bit of movement now too. And this will start on the weekend too, Tracie, if you're interested in that meetings on Sunday. But these concepts with Nick as well, with the internet, maybe next week as well, Dan, we'll be talking to 5 or 6, maybe 7, maybe you yourself want to jump on. Rick wants to have a meeting with others around this same methodology. There's about 6, I think, or 7 at the moment. So we may do the contributors meetings at the weekend, and then we go into another sort of, I call it a think tank meeting or whatever meeting next week, referencing this around the world. And I think, again, there's 14 hours in time zone differences between us all. So we are moving forward this week with newer considerations, let's say, that haven't been available before because the people weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how that goes. I'll let you know, Den, if you're interested. I'm sure we'll put it in the contributors group.
Yeah. I know Barrett's got something to say quickly. Barrett, do you want to jump in?
No, brother, please.
I was just going to say again, just to mention, Tracie. So again, there's the freedom that we all have, obviously, as we're growing and we're connecting with more and more souls and what have you, to also go ahead with our own initiatives whatever that might be. And so it's come up in this conversation recently about me. I had an idea, for example, you know, because I have many, right, about obviously potentially having another platform which could, you know, just gain the general sort of consensus from people on the virtues of do no harm, you know, the rights, the unalienable rights and freedoms, all the rest of it, and parts of the plan, without having any of the other kind of stuff to do with the name involved or all these other things, just to see where people are at, because to see what people are willing to agree to immediately at a drop of a hat versus, you know, the things that might distract them from what they see on the website, whether it's the name or something else. That was an idea, and of course it could be a great tool to do that separately, but it you know, again, the thing is that then does take time to do that, and obviously money and all the rest of it to create these things.
And I think the website has too much.
Well, it's
in my mind, it has. It's. I don't think that. I mean, come on, the 10 Commandments was like boom, 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 boom. I don't think that we have to have as much detail on the website. I really don't. I think that if we can simplify it.
Well, that could be true if you basically, again, with the emergence of an intranet, you could then simplify as the actual main.
Let me just add this, please, at this stage. We can't simplify it without consent from father. And each time we've asked to change things on the site, we've been told no. The taking anything out of it or making anything this, that, and the other, we can't do it. We've tried many times to rewrite parts of it, and we just can't do it. Even the divine law hasn't been able to be rewritten. There's so much of it that we haven't been able to do. So we can sit down and talk about simplifying and changing this and that and the other. But we've tried this for the last 2.5 years. Yes, we can have a meeting about it and discuss whether it can be done, but what we find is we can't do it. So it is what it is. This is why it was redesigned as it was, to make it a little bit more ergonomic and a little bit more aesthetically pleasing with the existing information on it.
Yeah,
anyway, we took a lot off, but of the complexity. But the information it's what was given, it's what was written.
Robert, I've got to say, like, I hear exactly what you're saying. I'm resonating with exactly what you're saying there, brother. But what you're saying is blatantly self-sabotaging in many eyes our actual movement, because you're saying, just to say that, I know that we resonate with that, right? Yeah, we could say, yeah, that father said this, and there's the reason why that is divinely true is that there has to be many things that occur in the consciousness, in reality, for people to shift, to be able to release their ego and actually see the truth of what's important and everything else, and just align with GPMS. But at the same time, you know, again, there's many ones that are being guided, right, in their own ways. They're receiving information, and people will be like, well, you know, if father is saying that this is what it has to be done, and this is the message that Rick's receiving and he's receiving from father about this, if this is the guidance, this is the truth, why is mother and father not actually giving that specific instruction to all of these different movements and all the people that have been guided directly, saying GPMS.world is the key, GPMS.world is the key? Well, he is, for those people that see it immediately.
You're looking at this as if there's a defined timeline, and there is, that each will receive their instructions at the right time. But what I would suggest to anybody, if they wish to rewrite the website, do it, rewrite it, put it into the contributors group, and we'll see. But what I won't discuss necessarily on these meetings is the rewriting of certain paragraphs or an umbrella view of we need to simplify it without it being done. What is it we need to simplify? Do it. Show us it. Give us the simplified version, and we'll see whether or not that can be accepted by father at this point. It's not a case of, well, we take this word out, take that word out. No, because then somebody else has got to go and do it. If ones feel the website should be simplified, simplify it, do it, hand it in, and we'll have a look.
Create my own site. You know what I mean?
Well, that
website took over a year to be done. A year, well, 14 months actually, 15 months for it to come live. These things are divinely timed. We can't just create them.
Fine.
We actually asked an Australian military, is it Australian? No, South African military ISP, internet service provider, to host GPMS, and they refused. We couldn't even get hosts at one point. We couldn't move anything. We were stuck in GoDaddy. It was crazy. but governmental ISPs said no, we're not. Well, they were in their army. All sorts of different things happened. We will say this openly: if you want to create a website, do it. If you want to rewrite GPMS and redesign it, do it. But what we can't do is say, well, we should do this.
We wouldn't have to go to anybody within your current system to get approval. You know what I mean?
Well, we don't need approval. We don't need approval. It's not about approval. It's about hosting. They wouldn't host it.
Right. I don't know. Defined process kind of gets me a little bit. I'll have to give it some thought.
Tracie,
Yeah.
I've got there's a platform that I know of which I used originally to play around with creating websites, and it's not the most comprehensive platform for creating websites, but it does allow you to create unlimited websites for a nominal monthly amount, basically, and a great platform for that reason. So we can access that, and we can create, and we can actually share what we create with obviously the other contributors at any point, but also use it as a tool if we wish to obviously do the other things that we want to sort of, raise awareness. Like you could have subsidiary sister, like in the 3D world, subsidiary sister companies, would be obviously to the main parent company, which is obviously in this case is GPMS.world. So we can explore that, and we can play with that as much as possible. And but again, the thing is when we talk about it, because any change like what we're talking about is a big change, and there is a lot more to it in terms of even being able to get the hosting and all the rest of it. So again, the main body and the main actual entity of GPMS.world doesn't necessarily need to change, but actually we can have all of these other things going on if we wish behind it, right? So
I would just say that there is another golden rule here that GPMS follows, which is there are no leaders in GPMS. There are no official leaders in GPMS. If you have an idea, once you realize that GPMS is the solution and it is the ultimate end state of humanity, cool. If you have ideas on how to actuate that in your own functional way, the way that you do best, then you nominate yourself as a leader and you do it. And then if other people who in the contributors or other people around you think that that's a good idea, they will then lend their energy to you. And so the good ideas will have energy lent to it. The ones that don't work won't, but it will be organic. There is no one leader. You either are your own leader, or you find somebody who is taking the leadership role within if you feel you need some direction or momentum. Simple.
Didn't Lee say the father is the leader?
Well, someone's getting the download who's saying we can or we cannot. I mean,
We can all get the.
You can all get downloads. That's what inspiration is, in essence. It's your access to the field, but if you are inspired, and that gives you energy and drive from that which you are inspired towards, as an idea towards expanding GPMS awareness of it, bringing it into inception, do it. You do not have to ask anybody's permission. You just crack on with it and share it if you feel you need some energy lent to it, or if you can do it all on your own, do it all on your own, whatever it is. But you at no point need any permission from anybody. You have full consent of the divine to take the leadership role yourself, 100%, and you will have guardianship.
Yeah, I mean, and just to say, I mean, also like it's worth noting that it is a big thing. Like when you change stuff to do this, we've had, the website is pivotal. It has to work. The most importantly, we need that up. We need people to be able to give their consents consistently all the time without downtime wherever possible, especially because we're constantly at that precipice of, going viral at any point. And we need that live for people to create that opportunity for the momentum to arrive and then continue and go forward. And we had the old website down for one point. It was down for almost 2 months or something before. And that was
another divine mechanism ongoing.
Yeah. So
it's a strange one.
Yeah. But ideally, we don't want. Ideally, it'd be great if it doesn't happen divinely again, and we don't. I mean, it could do, but but obviously, and if so, it's divine. But yeah, when you actually do make certain changes to certain types of websites, because of all of the data that's being collected and through it with the agreements and things like that, it's a more comprehensive programming language. My understanding is it's a comprehensive programming language behind this particular website. So changes can have bigger impacts to it.
In my experiences, when something is meant to happen, it flows easily. It flows easily without effort. We don't have to deal with resistance, figuring out things. It will just flow easy. And so that's why I wanted to have this meeting today to figure out. I'm telling you the things that didn't flow easy for me. And maybe it's because I'm in the United States. And like Lee said, you know, your efforts and stuff have been not in the United States. So I'm bringing it to you from a Westerner. In the because look at everywhere, our programming is different depending on whatever environment we were raised in. I mean, that's
one of your functions will be as a bridge from where we are going to where you are now, where you feel you connect most harmoniously with and have the most effect of your power, personal power within the field of your effect. Simple. And so as long as we all have that unified shared vision, okay, that's where we're going, it's inevitable. Where do I bridge that with where I am now and utilizing fully the function of what I am as a being right now in this moment?
Beautifully said.
So I mean, so again, we've got all of these opportunities to work on these things, and I hear where you're coming from, Tracie. So, I mean, I'm out there speaking with people in the United Kingdom constantly,
I've seen your post.
But a lot of people, they're not even direct enough to sort of say what it is that they're not resonating with. You know, they've got the inner work to do, and that's true no matter what the name is or how the website looks. There's things there that they need to release. Oh,
Den's got big. Den's got big.
But yeah, what I would love to bring up actually in this conversation was just something that we touched on in another meeting a couple of months ago, and basically it was just to do with basically again creating. And this might be like, this is obviously a project that would happen obviously outside of GPMS. It wouldn't be within the website or anything else, but it's just as we grow the think tank and more people are interested in doing this, it's something that would lend itself to obviously where we're going. And that is a kind of connection for businesses to sort of an in way to sort of help businesses align themselves with what we're doing by creating a kind of energy transfer, like a kind of, rather than a World Trade Center, a world energy exchange, sort of in the fact that then people could potentially exchange products and services with energy, you know, or what have you, with their energy or their skill set, whatever. So people don't necessarily have to trade or buy or use money as they currently are, if they don't have any necessarily, but they do have skills. There could be a massive worldwide, but starting in a country specifically maybe, and then expanding from that to be able to obviously.
It's inevitable, Dan. It's inevitable. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Part of that we'll be doing on Sunday evening. Part of that's already been discussed, and part of that is in method, let's say. But the basis of that is inevitable. What you're saying, the joining of skill sets, call them businesses if you want, but skill set unity and the allocation of that in each country is inevitable. We just haven't got we're not there yet. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it would be great to do that. I mean, obviously, again, when I'm speaking as well with, you know, many people that contact me from the Philippines, you know, as I obviously do my videos, I'm kind of obviously seen and known by many of our brothers and sisters over there and stuff like that. And I have from the Philippines and from India frequently still, when is GPMS going to be implemented? Because, you know, they understand that, you know, what we're talking about on some levels, but they're kind of course, eager to see and experience some uplift and change in their own reality from their lack perspective, because they are struggling, you know, they're poor. And we all want this to happen like yesterday. Of course we do. But of course,
let me just add for the Philippines, and I'll add this openly to anybody, the Filipino indigenous peoples, we have a link, a liaison, and we've spoken to many of the tribal leaders, enough of the tribal leaders for them to know what GPMS is. These leaders have negated and removed all of the other freedom fighting groups within the Philippines and said no, because they all are like killing people and taking revenge. GPMS was the only one that sparked their interest because it didn't speak to that. They were given GPMS, and yet 50 million of those indigenous, or 30 to 50 million of those indigenous, are still yet hesitant or lax. The leaders haven't given the information to the people. The ones that we have given the information to are the poor, the real poor. And they're the ones that are watching this. Yes, they use up their 3 minutes on their internet to see a few of these videos. They share these things in houses where 30 of them sit in a small room, no more than 4 by 4 meters. And that's their general evenings. These cultures are very, very different to what we're used to in the West. And they are shifting, they are sharing GPMS. They haven't got internet connection. They haven't got ability to connect. They haven't got telephones. So they're doing it via word of mouth and writing people's names down on documents and handing them into somebody else who is assigning them or consenting for them online. These teams are growing to collect the numbers, but these numbers can't help themselves. They can't assist themselves. They haven't got the access. So without the people on the street sharing this, or without the people going around sharing this in those local communities, millions and millions and millions of people will not unite because they don't know and they haven't got the ability to do so at this point. We are currently in the Philippines, certainly very, very close to a collection of a lot. But generally what we're seeing, Dan, and what you're seeing is the same thing. When do we get the money? When do we get the money? This isn't about money. This is about a change of system where humanity agrees to unite and grow a new benevolent, all-inclusive system themselves and create it. This is, as I've said before many, many times, GPMS is not being done for the people. It will be done by the people. Mm-hmm. So we can sit here and say, well, we can do this, that, and the other, but we can't without the people. But there must be a unity and there must be a growth and there must be a consensus. And this is what we're growing with this phase one, is this collect the voice. And each country will do it in different ways, socially templated. Thailand did the same thing, but they came to a plateau. Philippines have got much more ability to coordinate and collect. That's what they've been doing for years, coordinating, collecting and collaborating with each other on fundamental levels so they can bring the people together very quickly. Other places can't yet. So we're in this process of watching this ongoing. Philippines could sway and change tomorrow and 5 million join. It's just getting the names down onto the website. I know that one of our sisters there has got 7,000 names and she's trying to put in 200 a day herself, but she hasn't got teams around her she can allocate these names to. The people aren't driven yet. Well, when do we get it? When do we get the money? When do we get the money? Well, when there's enough. Well, what if there isn't? When can we have ours? No, the idea is that we share it amongst our brothers and sisters and everybody frees each other. It's not one group freeing everybody. It's each standing up themselves and choosing to empower themselves intrinsically and stand above this oppressive slavery system. This must be done by each. Yes, there will be some that don't necessarily move and shake, but they can actually put their name together, but they need to receive the information. And this is what we're talking to right now, is how do we best get that information to them, regardless of their choice? How do we assist them to see GPMS and let them make the choice and then move to the next and to the next and to the next? That's what we've been doing for the last 3 years. And this is what we will be doing now. We've just got more and more coming in that can connect to more and more. And this will become undeniable. The system itself is showing itself to be untenable, evil, and malevolent at best. But it is evil. This system does not remain in control. The people will take it over and it will topple itself. The morality of the militaries and the police, the enforcers that are backing the system, will switch to the people. But the people need to stand up first. The military aren't going to switch allegiance if the people aren't there saying, what are you doing? So this build-up is on what we're seeing right now, be it Peru, Panama, Romania, where was it, 4 million on the streets in Australia, Ireland's up in arms now about something else. Right. The rioting, the social unrest, the social non-compliance has to hit the large underbelly of the immoral, and the virtuous stand up and say, we can't put up with this anymore, we can't do this anymore. At this point, then we get the militaries and then we get the connections, and the enforcement of the system ceases. And then the system starts to get populated by the divine ones, the light ones working for the people. This is where the umbrella catch-all of GPMS gives the boundary and the route through that area. But where we are right now is on the precursory moving up to this big buildup of something is going to break. The straw that breaks the camel's back. And in the interim, what we've got to do is collect the people that can see GPMS, not the ones that can't. They will.
Yeah.
So we are in this, you know, I love the conversations about what we can do. But having been in the East and around all of the place and speaking to people on, you know, out in stadiums with a microphone and talking to 300 poor people, mostly mothers and grandmothers, even trying to get those to see what it is we're talking about. It's very, you know, the consciousness doesn't readily accept freedom at this point in the oppressed. There's so much lack and doubt within each, the mistrust within each of themselves. This must be aligned. This must be aligned. And this is what's happening divinely at this time. The sphere of influence of Gaia, the frequency is impacting everybody's molecular structures, and every molecule will integrate the higher frequency. This means a release of those lower fear frequencies. It's inevitable. It's what's ongoing, and it's happening on a collective basis as well as an individual. And I know many in the spiritual community could understand the dark night or the process of release or layer shedding and the reinstallation of their own value and their worth. Well, this is what's happening on a collective level too. It's no different. It's a biorhythmic game that we're playing here. So the human collective must release their shame, just like each individual had to release their shame. And this is where we are. We're very close to that standing up, pride dropping, courage being courage to move into acceptance and tolerance and all of these higher things where blame and shame and guilt and justification and reasons are no longer part of the conversation. The conversation is additive and it moves things forward. It doesn't go back into blame, shame. I'm not happy about this. Well, what about them? And what about that? No. It moves into a much more aligned, forward-looking, unified voice. And this is what the human collective is about to experience. Unity on the inside of each, extrapolated into a global a collective uplift or upscaling of humanity's experience. How do we increase that speed? We don't. It's divine. What we keep doing is the divine work we are doing, knowing that what we are doing is perfect in every moment, and we will continue to be perfect until all of this is complete. And this does not last very much longer. It doesn't. So where we are right now is beautiful. We're seeing massive change on the planetary scale. The old narratives are collapsing. The only thing that's maintaining them is the belief in them, and that belief is false. Let's watch this collapse. And what we've got is the catch-all net underneath, and all of the individuals here and the others that are uniting will be the structures that hold up the energy that catches I call it a comfort blanket almost. Humanity, as they dip into this, have a beautiful uplift afterwards. But first, they must take back control of themselves and, on a collective level, the systems that are used to control them.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, what is going to happen is obviously there's enough people that are aware or have some awareness of GPMS at this point that when things collapse, or more evidently are collapsing, then they'll be like, what was that GPMS? And what were they saying? And what do we need to do now? Can we have GPMS now? You know, and because, you know, where do I sign? Where, you know, let me look at that plan again. Because, like, you know, this is like chaos. We need something now. And so that's where an influx of people will come. I mean, obviously, again, it's getting that viral awareness is the number one key of the phase. Like, even not having the viral consent level yet, you know, just the awareness of GPMS being here, you know, with the plan, with the essence is sufficient, because obviously when things do happen suddenly like that in a blink of an eye, then everyone just comes together because they see that that is the way forward.
We've got as many millions.
Yeah,
as many millions sovereign communities all over the world. There's many millions right now that are affiliated, linked, associated, following, blah blah blah. Sovereign communities trying to create, unincorporated ideas and unregistered ideas outside of the existing system. Well, it's gravy and it's beautiful what they've been doing, but they unite into GPMS. Yet they are resistant at the moment because they feel they have an answer. They feel they have a solution. We can create a breakaway society and we'll be okay. No, you can't. This isn't about a few. This is about everybody. There's many, many indigenous tribes out there that are still in areas of mistrust and distrust from what they've been sold or agreed to in the past. But all of their prophecies are aligned to this time of unity. The Hopi one being the biggest one, the Rainbow Tribe or Rainbow Warriors, uniting and bringing heaven back to earth. One of those indigenous tribes, or one of the leaders, actually, we've only had one that's allocated right now, but 10 million, 5 million, 3 million of the indigenous people, all of a sudden, all of them around the world are now seeing it. This hasn't happened yet, but it is inevitable. So these unities, the guy we spoke to, Marcel, let's see what he does. I'm not going to put too much pressure on the poor fella, but First Nations and the ones he's been dealing with for 14 years inside of setting up unregistered or unincorporated entities. These can link very, very quickly. We spoke to the World Passport Agency, who are doing sovereign passports 2 years ago, and yet nothing back from that yet. These areas where there's quite a lot of following inside a limited concept are all ready to come in, and they should be aligned. The sovereignty does not need, you don't need to send documents into your governments to try to take away your birth certification frauds, your Strawman fictions. We all know all about this, but it's mute. The government's a corporation and it works for the industry that holds all your money, your value, which is a financial institution, which is fraudulent. You can't take yourself out of a system and then stay within a system that's fraudulent. These ideas don't work in the bigger picture. So you can stand up above this sovereign state and claim your divine authority, which is truly what you are. You don't need bits of paper, two-dimensional paper to prove what you are. And for somebody to say, okay, we'll let you be what you are. No, you are it. You claim that authority and you stand in it. But this sovereign state is above, though this divine state is above what people think that they are, is available to them. This must streamline and come forward. We're seeing it cracking. We're seeing all of these breaking, that they haven't been able to get where they wanted to be. All of the things that's been tested and tried didn't work. No, because they weren't inclusive of all. They were semi-exclusive. They were still benevolent and they were still beautiful and still necessary in the build-up. But we're past that stage now. Let's see, as we roll forward before Christmas or the next couple of 3 weeks, how things change.
I'm all for just trying to find any avenues though, just to speed up the viral awareness, just so that people are aware of GPMS for as things get sufficiently pressurized enough for them to then make that choice more quickly. Because I mean, of course, when I'm speaking to people and I'm constantly everyone I speak to has never heard of GPMS. Like when I'm bringing it up with people that I meet offline, there's a lot of people that know about GPMS that are holding on to it quietly and they haven't shared it with anyone that they know, but they know about it, and they'll be the one that brings it. It's sitting there, at the moment, just in the backs of their minds, and
they want to feel safe. They want to feel safe bringing it up. They don't feel safe yet. The herd mentality is not reached.
Yeah, and they've obviously in their divine sense of divine timing, it's not for them to share it at this point because they're not kind of 100% seeing it properly yet from their own dimensional perspective. But when the pressure's enough, and then they have people come to them saying, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? This is going to be chaos. There's going to be unrest and all the rest of it." Then they'll be like, "Right, okay, this epiphany will occur. Hang on a minute, I seem to recall something about this platform that's bringing everybody together, that's unifying everyone, that's visible, that's like a referendum. Oh yeah, where is that?" And then they'll be the go-to people. But we need as many people, even on a subconscious level, to be aware of GPMS for them to be the person that obviously will then tell GPMS to all of those that are going to come to them or go to each other when they're in this pressure, because obviously they're concerned about everything suddenly coming to a head. So we want to look at different ways where we can obviously get that viral awareness growing more quickly, because We anticipate that there's tens of millions of people that must be aware on some level of GPMS, or what number we don't know exactly. It could be more than that. It could be 100 million before we know at this point. We don't
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Collective consciousness is aware.
4 billion, doesn't it?
What's that?
Well, 1.4 billion is the website. Yeah, the website said 1.4 billion based on the collective number of the largest countries. Not that we believe the numbers of the largest countries, but China being 1.4, Africa being 1.4, India being 1.4. So we said the same thing. So GPMS nation, the universal nation, at 1.4 billion would be the largest nation on the planet. But reasonably, it doesn't matter. It's 1.4 billion doesn't make any difference. 500 million, 50 million. At what point virality kicks in? Once you've hit a billion, 4 billion more, that won't take seconds. The collective consciousness would have collapsed the structures by then. The energetics within that freedom in the consciousness, where the structures would not be able to tolerate, be accepted. So as we move forward with this, the numbers we've used were, let's say, just to give some fluff to it, they don't really hold factual weight. We were given 986,000 was a pivotal number. That could happen tomorrow, or it could happen in a month. It could happen never. It could just be the energetic content that actually signifies 986,000 rather than the numbers on the website. So we don't know.
Numbers hold as well.
The what?
The numbers hold frequency as well.
Yeah. So this energetic alignment, this is why there's a couple of things that are really important to really emphasize here. We talked about the people, and we agree that people require to stand up and unify, but there's 4.83 million Christed ones on this planet whose mission it is to be here to help assist with the ascension and the uplift of the children of Gaia. Of these 4.83 million, they carry a higher Christed energy, if you will, at this point. And those energetics would have a huge sway upon the collective. I think we need about 600 united from those echelons of the higher light workers, like Tracie. What the beauty of you being here, my dear, is a divine feminine aspect is something that we're missing on this at the moment. The divine feminine aspect that gives GPMS out to the people has a different energy to the masculine aspect, and a lot of us have put this together, but we require our equal counterparts, the feminine, to stand up and give what they're going to do as well to balance this energetic out and to spread it. So this is inevitable too. The things that we are doing and the things that are coming together are harmonizing and balancing and giving higher information all of the time to make it more accessible for those to come in who do know what they are, not necessarily the ones that don't know what they are. And I think you know what I mean by Tracie when I say you know what you are. Those that do already know to a certain degree or whatever what they are on a divine level, they need to unite on a collective level across the planet and start to act in that collaborative role as opposed to individual and separative divided roles in each country. So we're seeing the breaking down of this too, and the unity of this coming together, albeit tentative at the moment, but it is inevitable again. And this could happen very, very quickly as we start to put this unified harmonic energy out. So thank you, Barrett. Thank you, Mike, Dan, Tracie, for doing this today. The amplification of this conversation will impact the collective consciousness hugely. Whatever we do with the video afterwards, it has those impacts. So without this conversation, we'd be one step less close. But of course, divinely, we were always going to have this conversation.
Right.
Lovely. Great. I mean, it's an hour and 42. Time doesn't exist, but still, do we want to slowly but surely wrap it up, or
it's just an hour and 42, Barrett? I haven't even heard you speak, brother. You were the host and you sat there beautifully in the background.
It's beautiful to be here. Beautiful. I just, I'm just excited. The ecstasy of all of us coming together at this time, this pivotal moment in humanity, where we are the individuals that are shining our light. And for me, the biggest suffering is not being conscious, aware of the kind of impressions that we as humans are leaving. So it's important to leave the love energy everywhere we go, that beautiful signature that will bring and unite people together, and to feel the pain of another sentient being. And it's, for me, the biggest pain is the separation from Divine Mother. So, and how we treat our planet is on reflection what exactly is going on within our vessel. So for us to be more conscious, aware that we are, sending a very powerful energy, and we can amplify that when we have beautiful get-togethers like this, like the way we're all contributing this incredible energy. So I'm just excited, and Brother Lee as well. I was going to say, earlier, this wasn't recorded, by the way, because you'd kind of you were referring to some kind of collapse in the powers that were, in terms of holding on to the energy, in terms of people who are listening out there who've got money. And for me, as we have all been saying, this isn't about the money, but it's about sharing space, and it's about what atmosphere are we creating in that space. Is it welcoming? Is it genuinely, are we being authentic to ourselves first and then magnifying that energy? So being generous is not just giving money, but it's holding that space for feeling the pain of individuals, children, and all the sentient beings. That includes animals and plants and the mineral kingdom. So it's a whole spectrum of things. But I'd like to thank you all today, and looking forward to another beautiful session in the not so distant future. So I will. Does anybody want to add anything else before we say farewell? Because then I'll just wrap it up with the bioactivation ending, because there's always a little 30-second video I would. But much love to you all.
Thank you all. Tracie, I'll send you a link for Sunday's meetings.
I would love it.
I think 11 p.m. What's
Again?
that my time?
My
6 a.m. your time, I think.
Oh.
I think it'll be 6 a.m. yours. Is that
I can get up early.
I think it's 6. It's 11 p.m. I'm doing it here. So bank, so I think you're 15 behind. So 11, take that. I think it's 6 a.m. unfortunately, but this is just for this one. So I'll send you the link for that.
I like the reversal.
Yeah, we'll look at how that goes, and I'll maybe send you the link for the contributors as well. You can jump in there and see what's going on. So we'll get that bit organized, and we'll move forward. Thank you so much, all. Much love, light, gratitude to you all. It's been another one of these. Barrett, we must do. Then we'll keep these going, because I think we could do with getting more of these out. Tracie, and more, we'll get more of these out to impact this a little bit more and cover these areas. Because that we don't have to do it in the other videos.
Bioactivator.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunyan's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and